next article is very similar to one that we talked about in Horror Stories. This is about a physician from a pain clinic in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, who for about 4 years was unnecessarily prescribing medications to patients, not because, and I say unnecessarily, not because those patients had a medical condition requiring those or just needing those medications, but because their insurance covered those medications, those were given to the patients. And these included narcotics. They included painkillers, sedatives, muscle relaxers, anti-inflammatories, and the physician, Dr. Nade didn't provide any usage or dosage instructions with these medications, and they are some dangerous medications.
Sure, yes, very much so.
Very controlled too. His organization or within his physician's office, saying that he was leaving signed prescription pads around his office and then also giving those medications to people who didn't need them. But just cherry on top is the prescription pads too, like ready to go for anybody who wants one. Wow. So it wasn't just Dr. Nade who was found guilty or accused of running this pill mill operation. The other people were charged as well. 2 of those were foreign trained doctors who were not licensed in the United States or trained in the United States. And a nurse as well. So a nurse and 2 other physicians.
Yeah.
And they were caught up in it. Dr. Nade, it seems just from reading the article that he, maybe was found most guilty and he was denied bond. So as this wrapped up the U.S. Attorney General's investigation, he was charged with felony counts of healthcare fraud and conspiracy to distribute controlled substances. And this is just another little part here. So his scam cost healthcare benefit programs more than $4 million.
Wow.
I mean, average that out $1 million a year.
Even a whistleblower, policy and having the ability for whistleblowers to speak up about these things, it's also kind of a top-down mentality. People look to their next manager and up their chain of command, if you will, to understand what's right and wrong in this organization. And if I do speak up, are they going to listen? And in this situation, it sounds like it's one of those top-down, corrupt organizations and cultures that even if you had that situation, it may not have worked. So, it really starts at the top as far as the culture and the ethics in an organization.
And that just brings up, why don't people feel comfortable, employees, why don't they feel comfortable when they see these bad things happening within their organizations, things they know are illegal or are against policy? What stops them and prevents them from talking about it?
Definitely the fear of retaliation.
Yeah.
Definitely fearing, hey, I was trained to follow this process and I know that it's not what I'm supposed to be doing legally, but I don't want to lose my job because I fear that if I say something, I'm going to be terminated for speaking up. They still want to remain anonymous because they fear, being blacklisted in the industry that they work in or in the area.
Right.
And so it's definitely understanding.
My wife is actually in the healthcare industry, and they rely heavily on referrals and references in that industry. So that's why there is that absolute fear that even if I do this after the fact, if they find out it's me, there goes the reference that I need to move into my next role. So it's a challenging situation.
So I definitely, let them know at the beginning of the call, our calls are not recorded, they're not traced. So you don't have to worry about, your employer calling in and saying, hey, I want to listen to this phone call so I can see whose voice that was. Also, we let them know I don't reference your gender throughout the report.
Okay.
So, we refer to you as him or her, or he or she throughout the reporting process. So, if you're the only female in the office or the only male in the office, it doesn't pinpoint you.
Right. So that, I'm sure that that's reassuring, the gender piece especially.
Right.
That, because I'm sure that, maybe within a very female-oriented field, if a male speaks up, that could be quite fearful.
Right.
Sure. And it's that, whether you run your own reporting system internally, whether you have a third party, frankly, hopefully, most of these issues are going to come to light through normal channels and internally.
Yes.
So it's important. This is another, training and policy situation that we're looking at. Have specific policies and make sure, especially the people that are receiving this feedback and getting put on notice about these things that are happening, that they're very sensitive to very detailed things like their gender, their departments. Yes. And they might not want to get too specific on specifically where they are in the organization. Right. Unfortunately, you have to have some information to investigate on the other side. So again, that's something else, what we do here at Compliance Line obviously is very beneficial to our clients, that we become a liaison between an anonymous reporter and that employer, so that if all the information is not there up front, we were able to gather what they were comfortable with, we don't lose them. Right. We continue that dialogue.